unstoppable.
Keep them.
Stay with us here on BBC One. It's this week's visit to the animal hospital next.
Settle down for Saturday night on BBC One.
I want to give me bunions a rest.
At 6:15, Superman's showing off.
You know, I kind of like that spin thing.
At 7, it's Gabby Roslin.
I would like to see her bedding.
And Dream Dates, Ant and Dec. At 10 to 8, Terry Wogan is joined by Avengers star Patrick Macnee and Australian rock stars In Excess. At 8:10, Maddie's solved one small problem.
Trevor and I were getting on each other's nerves in the end, so I did the mature thing and set fire to his underpants.
But can Jonathan Creek solve the mystery? With Casualty and the best of Les Dawson, it's Saturday night on BBC One.
In half an hour here on BBC One, Peggy finds out that looking after a new pet can be a dog's life. And some rather unusual pets before that on BBC One, at the animal hospital.
G'day, welcome back to Animal Hospital in Aylesbury. You know, a lot of the more unusual pets that are brought in here seem to find their way to vet Malcolm Paul. He's no stranger to large boxes and the even larger surprises they contain, as Shauna Lowry found out.
What have we got lurking in here?
She's an iguana.
Oh, right, okay. Big iguana, I presume. Right, okay. What can we do for you?
I just wanted her claws clipped. Just a general check over.
Okay.
Can we have a look at her?
Not as easy as it sounds, probably.
What's her name?
Maureen.
Maureen, the iguana.
How old is she?
She's about 5 years old.
Oh, right.
All right. Okay, she's
huge. Oh, yes.
Wow.
Huge. Okay, can you get her out from there easily?
Yeah, I'll have a go.
Yeah.
Okay. Do they bite?
Sometimes.
They can do.
Look at the size of her. Is she fully grown?
No, she'll grow to about 8 feet long.
You're kidding.
You need a bigger box next time.
How are you going to cope with her when she gets to that size?
She's left out of my bedroom.
She looks very fit, actually. Right, so we just need to have a look at these nails, don't we?
The claws look pretty long, don't they?
Yeah, look
They're sharp.
Very sharp.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they do it there because they normally climb up trees and things, so they need good sharp claws. Right, let's see what she thinks of this. Oh, that's not too bad.
She's been very good.
Yeah, I've been
so
good,
far,
yeah.
so
I'm
good.
surprised.
Does she make a good pet?
Yeah, she does actually, yeah. It's quite fun actually having her.
What do you like about her?
Just the way she walks and climbs and stuff.
Do you have any other pets?
I've got a dog as well, a little puppy, 4.5-month-old puppy.
And what does it make of the iguana?
Looked at it, sniffed her. She just sits there staring.
Do you let her run around the house?
Just my bedroom, yeah. She's normally tame.
Really?
Yeah.
Looks like she's going to stick her tongue in your ear.
No, I was just watching that. I've got that any minute.
Oh. Yes? Oh, yeah. She's kissing you.
She's just finished a shed, I would think, has she, by the looks of her?
Yeah, she's just been shedding, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Ooh. What in your neck
That's one we haven't done yet.
She's just got you.
Okay.
She's quite enjoying it, actually.
You're right, aren't you? See what's going on up there. Okay.
Does she sleep with you in the bed?
No, no way.
So she normally stays in her cage?
Yeah. I let her out once at night. Ended up with her claws in my head.
She's ever so good. That's lovely. Right. Anybody else want theirs done?
Oh, I think I'll pass on that. Now, when you have to go to the doctors, there's nothing like taking someone with you for a bit of moral support. When Sammy was brought in with a bad leg, his friend came along to keep him company. It was Sammy's second visit, and vet Robin Ireland suspected a torn ligament.
How things have been going?
It's
got a lot worse.
It's got worse, has it? Well, let's have a look. I'll just come round here. There. Can we get her to lie down? I don't know if she'll... Just over on the side towards the head. That's it. Well done. These dogs are very laid back. Good. Now I'm just going to do a little test. If we move that, whoops. I don't know if you can get an idea with their head. Yeah. They shouldn't move at all. We can compare it to the other leg, but that's moving forward. They shouldn't be able to move that forward. So it's a pretty reliable test.
And you reckon that's broken, that ligament?
Completely torn. Yeah, it's snapped off, I'm afraid.
How would that have happened?
We see it particularly in younger dogs if they're jumping up for frisbees and turning around, or hooked up on a fence, or turning around quickly, suddenly snaps. The footballers get it, the rugby players get it, like Paul Gascoigne, I think that's the injury he had, where it completely snaps and then very late.
It's called the cruciate.
Cruciate, that's the one.
How did you notice it?
He's just limping all the while, he doesn't, and then he started to get worse by not using it at all and running along three-legged style.
So what can you do about that?
Because he's not got arthritis in the rest of his joints and he's doing well and he's not too old, I would suggest that surgery is your best option. OK?
Yes, fine.
That's OK by you, Mr. Hammer?
Well, the sooner it's done, the better.
That's true.
I'll just check. Is it OK with you, Sam?
The operation was done the next day. As a ligament can't be mended, Robin had to remove the torn pieces and close up the joint.
Just trim this up here.
The important thing then was to stop part of the knee joint from sliding forward. So Robin tied 2 loops of surgical thread around the outside of the joint, and that held it steady.
That's fine. So it's achieved what we wanted to. And now it's down to nature just to get it to fibrose up.
5 days later, Sammy was back at the hospital to have his bandages removed.
Come on, Sammy.
There's a good dog.
Whoa.
Has he been exhibiting any signs of pain at all?
No, nothing at all.
Has he been yelping or anything?
No.
Mind you, he's a very laid-back hound,
He's incredibly laid back. There's a lot of dogs I couldn't do this to. I'd have to sedate them.
Really?
Just to do this.
He's having a snooze, I think.
I'll just peel that around there. OK, I just want to test the knee again, so if we could move that, Rolf, I'll just move over there.
OK.
I'm not going to prod too much because I don't want to hurt the dog, but I just want to see how stable that is. Gee, that's pretty good. It's amazing how he doesn't feel more discomfort. Excellent. Actually, I would like to see him walk if we could, Mr.
Come on.
Come on then.
There. Now you've got a bit of strength. There you go.
Steady.
Well done. You've got to get a bit of confidence in using that leg again.
That's a good boy.
And we'll reassess things in a few weeks' time, but rest him in the meantime.
Can you walk on it? Yes. Oh.
Well, as you can see, Sammy's walking quite well, and it's only 3 weeks since the operation. How's he getting on, Derek?
He's doing fine. He's very laid back about it all.
Sammy was lucky. With something like a torn ligament, you know what the problem is and you know how to treat it. But sometimes things aren't so straightforward. Steve Knight was there when vet Terry Horgan was called out to see a 2-day-old foal called Bianca. She'd been born with a rare eye problem.
Just on a superficial examination, we can see that the lower eyelid is inturned, which is a condition called entropion, and the lashes of the lower eyelid are rubbing against the cornea and producing a very sore eye. So we need to stitch that out because it's causing a lot of pain. But I think we better just test her reflexes first. Well, there's some reflex there. Not a lot there. Not a lot, no. Right. Let's have a round and we'll do the other eye. That's not too far now, so she gets into the bright. It's worse. Doesn't seem to be any reaction there, does there? Doesn't look good, does it?
Terry decided to take Bianca to a darker stable to get a better look inside her eyes.
We've got a bit of a problem here. We've got what they call a nuclear cataract in its eye, which seems to be blocking a lot of the light from getting to the back of the eye. So let's get and examine the other eye. Yeah, it's got a cataract in this eye as well, a round pearl-like structure in the middle of the lens.
So now you know she's got the cataracts, what can you actually do?
They can be operated on, but in horses, cataract removal is very, very difficult. And basically at the end of the day it only gives them guidance vision. So if this foal has a good enough eye response, we probably wouldn't do surgery.
What can you do about the eyelid?
We're going to stitch the eyelid out to the outer part of the eye so it stops irritating the cornea.
Watched by her mother, Bianca was sedated and Terry was able to correct her inturned eyelid.
And how long does it say stitched for?
Oh, probably only a week or 10 days.
Oh,
and
right.
then it'll stay out, hopefully all the time, yeah. Oh. So we're just putting some antibiotic eye ointment because there was a bit of infection set up since the foal was born because of the irritation. And I mean, I'll see it every day, make sure everything's okay.
The good news is Bianca's left eye seems to be improving, but it'll be a few weeks before Terry knows exactly how much vision she'll have. For the time being, her mother wears a bell, so Bianca knows where to find her. Now, back to Malcolm Paul and his boxes. You may remember a couple of weeks ago, it was a large red box that was brought into the clinic.
Something interesting in the box.
Right.
Yep. Let's see what we've got. Oh, right.
Gosh, that's the first fish I've seen.
Really? Yeah, nice koi carp.
The fish had a bad infection and pox lesions on its fins, so Malcolm decided to investigate further and take some skin scrapings. But how do you anaesthetise a fish?
I'm going to put the anaesthetic in the water and he'll absorb that. And it's only a light dose, so we'll just go a little bit dozy. Once he's just started to go to sleep, what we'll do is we'll take him out of there quickly and we'll pop him on that nice moist drape. I'll do my scrapings. What we want to try and do is to actually find out what sort of organism it is, because if we pick the wrong type of antibiotic, then obviously the disease will get worse. And these fish can be quite valuable. They can run into hundreds of pounds. Gosh. And if it's a contagious organism, again, we need to know because we don't want the rest of the pond to succumb. Now he's a little bit sleepy, I think we'll take him out and do these skin scrapes, and then Sam can change the water for us.
Okay, I'll get out of your road.
Right, little one. There she comes. There we go. Okay. Hang on a minute, so he might be a bit too light still. Yeah, I think we're better. Okay, sorry, Sam, we'll keep him in there for a little bit longer. I was allowing for him to be perhaps a little bit more unwell. We'll have to give him a little bit more anaesthetic and give him another 5 minutes or so. You're always putting in less to start with and then topping up if necessary.
It can be a tricky business anaesthetising a fish, but after a few more drops, the patient was ready for the skin scraping.
Right, he's obviously losing his sense of balance now. He's more or less swimming upside down. That's great. Come on then, let's see if we take you out if you'll behave yourself this time. Oh, here we go.
That's better, eh?
A little bit, that's fine. Okay, yeah, I think we're fine, Sam.
How much time realistically have you got here?
We've got about 3 or 4 minutes, actually. Do you want to pass one of the slides over, Ross?
Yep.
We'll pop the scrapings on there. That's lovely. And these are the pox lesions. You can see they're solid.
Yeah.
There. Okay. And we'll just do his injection, which is just by the side of you. Lovely.
And what's this?
This is the antibiotic injection that we had fun doing the other day. It's obviously much easier now he's asleep.
Yeah.
That's fine. And we'll just put a little bit of protective paste over the areas that are wounded. It's very similar to the human paste they use with bed sores, and that will just help it heal. So what we need to do is get him back in the water again now, and he should come round fairly quickly. Okay, there we go. Okay,
Want
now
to see
let's
what
if we
we've
can
got
find anything. That's good.
Got something?
There's something, yeah.
The little greeny thing?
That's it. We'll have a look around, see if we can find any others, because there's bound to be more than one different species around. It looks as though there's some fungal hyphae around as well, these sort of pencil-like structures. Right. Well, we'll look all those up in the book and find out what we're dealing with and sort out the treatment.
Malcolm identified the troublemakers and put the fish on special medicated food, and it's making a good recovery. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking that Malcolm only treats weird and wonderful creatures, but he does get plenty of cats and dogs in the clinic too, and they have their own complications. When Butch came in with a sore tummy, the reason wasn't immediately apparent,
Right, OK, what's worrying you?
Well, we gave him 3 of the worming tablets.
Right, OK.
On Sunday.
Yes.
And last evening, about 9 o'clock, he suddenly started running across the floor, rubbing himself on the floor, shaking himself, turning over.
Right, so was he being sick or anything like that?
He was sick on Sunday.
So that's a couple of days ago?
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
OK. And has he eaten since then, or...?
Oh, yes, he's had little, very little.
So he's off his food, but he is eating a little bit?
Yes,
right.
yes.
OK, but no more sickness or anything?
No, not sick.
What's he doing?
So what are you checking
Well,
for?
I'm just having a feel of his tum, because obviously if he's been sick, there's a possibility there's something in there, foreign body or...
I did wonder about that.
Inflammation. I would expect him to be very poorly, to be honest, if that was the problem. He's a lucky Jack Russell, because you've still got your lovely tail, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very friendly.
Oh, you can wag your tail, can't you, and say what a happy dog I am.
We've had a lot of ants in the house, and I wondered
Right.
if they'd cause any...
If he got bitten by a lot of ants, that would cause some irritation, certainly. Was he scratching or nibbling at himself?
Rubbing all over the floor.
Right, let's just have a little look at your tummy and see if you've got some ant bites on that. So perhaps if you lift his front legs up or we roll him on his back, I don't mind, whichever. He's going to do the best. Oh, look at your tummy.
What are they doing?
Oh,
Tickling
no,
your tummy.
that looks like it might be a bite, doesn't it?
Yes, I'd
And
noticed
so
that,
does that.
yes.
Right.
That's why he jumped up on the edge.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it
The
is.
ants,
The red
yeah.
ants or
Black
ants?
That
Oh,
they've
they're not
moved
much.
in the house, you know.
Right, OK. They're not so bad, the black ants. They don't sting quite so much.
That's what it is, John.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
Well,
sure
that's
it is.
actually good news then.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
I've probably got quite a few bites in one go, and that caused him a bit of irritation, so we just need you to go around with a insecticidal spray in the house, I think, and get rid of all these ants and solve that problem for both of you, I think.
Poor Butch. A severe case of ants in the pants. However small the problem is, it is hard not to worry about your pets. But it does help to know that they're in good hands. As deputy head nurse here at the hospital, that was one thing Rachel Lane could be sure of when her cat Mia was taken ill.
Over the weekend I noticed a little lump on her stomach, so I decided to bring her in today to get it checked out.
So how did you get Mia?
She came into the practice as a road traffic accident a few months ago with a fractured pelvis. No one claimed her, so I decided to take her on.
Did this lump suddenly appear over the weekend, or was it there already?
It's always been there, but it grew. It's grown quite a bit over the weekend, so I don't really know what's going on at the moment.
I've had a look at it for Rachel, and from what she's described, the hernia is the most likely thing. But if not, it could be some kind of fatty tissue just growing in a hard lump. Just move. We'll just get her sorted.
Are you worried about this?
A little bit, just because I don't really know yet quite what it is.
Isn't it a bit strange being the nurse in the operation for your own cat?
I don't want to give anyone else the responsibility if anything goes wrong. And also, I don't know, I just like being with her, really.
Yeah.
That's the lump there.
You didn't realise it was that big then, Rachel?
No, it didn't feel that big.
I'm not so sure it's a hernia any longer. And the hole that I thought I felt doesn't seem to be here, so...
Oh. You surprised by the size of that?
It's a much darker colour, and it's very, very thick and hard.
Would the car accident be a factor in this?
That's sort of a best guess, Rachel having described what's happened to this cat. I'd say probably the cat's been very bruised underneath, and what happens sometimes is when the body tries to heal bruise, it puts down a lot of thick, hard tissue, and it's probably done too good a job at healing it.
Will you send that away for testing?
Yes, I will.
What do you think about this, Rachel?
It's all a bit of a shock, really. I just thought it was going to come in for a little routine hernia operation, but she'll be looked after well here anyway, I know that.
There'll be trouble if she's not looked after there well.
Will be.
Mia was soon well enough to go home, and Rachel has just learned that the test results are clear, so her cat's going to be fine.
Good girl.
Mia needed an operation to cure her problem, but other conditions just need time, as I discovered when a real handful of a hamster was brought in to see vet Sally Payne.
This is Hermina. Okay.
Whoops.
Oops. Perhaps I better just
Yeah.
catch her for you.
Catch her up. She's a live wire, isn't she?
Just keep hold of
Yeah.
her tightly at the moment. She's a little skittish at the moment.
Hello, Puppet.
She escaped again last night.
Right.
Again, yes. Hermina Houdini, we've nicknamed her at the moment. By the looks of what I can find, She looks like she's either eaten chocolate or she's had chocolate in her pouches.
How did you know it was chocolate?
I could smell it. I thought, oh, Lord, well, at least this isn't blood. She's not been fighting.
There's actually been some interesting things sort of coming to light recently with chocolate, and sort of the fashion now for sort of the dark chocolates, the more continental chocolates, are actually creating some problems with our pets.
Really?
Because, yes, one of the sort of chemicals that's in chocolate can be quite dangerous for them.
Dangerous in what way?
It contains theobromine, which is just a component of cocoa, and when it's taken in large quantities can cause poisoning, basically. But she's moving quite happily. You know, she's interested in investigating all the corners, which is...
No, she's a lot better now than she was when we first found her.
Yeah.
She was proper dopey.
I can't feel anything abnormal with her tummy. I think it more likely that she's just pigged out.
Yes.
And she's got tummy ache. Basically, it's going to be a question of time for her to get over the ill effects of all this overeating.
Well, I think Hermina's learned her lesson. She hasn't had a midnight feast for at least a week. A case of chocolate breath gave her away, but you don't necessarily get telltale signs like that. With birds, it isn't always obvious that there's something wrong until they're very sick, as Shauna found out when Jasper the parrot was rushed in to see Malcolm.
All of a sudden he started squawking and falling about.
Right, okay.
And he keeps trying to hide. Today he's been falling off his perch.
He's certainly a very sick parrot, to be honest with you. He's sitting there with his eyes closed and his head down and he's fluffed up and he looks very unwell. It's most likely to be an infection, so I'll get him full of some antibiotics today by injection, but I really am not going to muck him about.
No.
That might just be enough to tip him over the edge.
How do you think he might have gotten an
That was
infection?
what I was going to ask. Is it my fault?
In
Because
your
I can't
case.
get him to eat anything fresh at all.
Right, so he's just on the sunflower seeds and
he loves the monkey
yeah,
nuts.
Sure. It's very difficult when they get hooked on one sort of food to actually give them a balanced diet. And I think what we'll do is we'll get the antibiotics in and then you can take him home and back to a nice quiet environment as soon as we can. Gently, gently, gently. There we go. That's it.
Does he look underweight?
He's not too bad, actually. He's a little bit underweight, but he's not as thin as I thought he might be. Oh, gently. That's it.
There you
You're
go.
finished now. That's it. Well done. He didn't put up very much of a fight with that injection at all, actually.
He doesn't have much energy.
No.
Yeah.
No. He's fairly critical, so he's sort of 50-50 at the moment, to be honest. Gently.
The next morning, Jasper was brought back by his worried owner. He was still very ill, and his breathing was bad. Malcolm listened to his chest and prescribed some more antibiotics.
Ow.
Jasper, that's not nice.
What's he got around his claws?
Yeah.
He's hanging on to it.
He is, yeah. I might leave him for a second, actually, and let him untangle himself when he's got his breath back. You're struggling a little bit, aren't you,
Yes, he
Prophet?
doesn't. I don't think he's very happy there.
No, I don't think he is. Let's just see if we can...
He's bleeding there.
He did have a go at me, yes. OK, love. That's it. Let's just get you out of here.
Oh, dear.
I think I might just take him down the end, actually, and get him on a little bit of oxygen, if I can.
Yeah?
OK.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Puppet. Sorry, I need oxygen for a parrot now. Don't mind anything. OK, probably the other one better, actually, sorry.
Bigger.
OK. Just oxygen. There you go.
Yes, somebody else with my face.
How's he doing?
Right, he's a little bit better now he's on the oxygen, which is still...
That's a relief.
Well, we're not out of the woods yet. Obviously, there might be some pathology inside that we haven't picked up on yet.
It's always very delicate with birds, isn't it?
It is a little bit, that's right. You don't know they're ill until they're really ill. But by the time you actually get to see them in surgery, you're often on a knife edge. Can I just have a stethoscope, Matthew? Thanks. There's still the same sort of popping, crackling noises that there were yesterday and this morning. Let's just try without the oxygen now. might do is we've got like an oxygen tent arrangement that we can set up, and I think what we'll do is we'll pop him in there so that he can have an oxygen-rich air to breathe, but we won't actually have to handle him and do anything.
The nurses kept a close watch over Jasper, but sadly he didn't recover. The post-mortem showed that in addition to a severe infection, Jasper also had an advanced and incurable heart problem, and there was nothing that anybody could have done for him. Now, when calls come in for the farm vets, it's to this office here. The farm secretary is Morwen Ashton, and she keeps everyone in line.
Hello, Mr. Baker. What can we do for you?
Like the rest of the staff, she loves animals, but her pets aren't exactly cuddly.
We'll go into that hive.
Shauna bravely went with her when she set off to check on her bees.
First thing to do is put on your protective gear. Is that it? I feel like Bill and Ben. Pull the veil down, that's it. Now make sure it's well and truly over your shoulders. Be sure that they don't crawl up under you.
Are they likely to land on us?
They might do, they might do. It's just precautions, sensible precautions.
Fine, and good long gloves.
And the good long gloves. Dial challenge, here we come. Right, down the very bottom here is what's called the brood chamber. That's where the queen will be. Now we shall smoke the bees first. Now, the idea is that they now think there's a forest fire. They all go and grab a load of honey because they think they've got to evacuate. Once their tummies are full, they can't bring their body round, and it's not so easy for them to sting you. Also, it's a bit like us after Sunday lunch. You don't feel like doing very much. So it's a way of quietening them, makes them a little bit easier to handle. The first thing we will do is take the lid off.
Okay.
You may find some bees flying up. Don't be at all disturbed by that.
How many are here, do you think?
At the moment, there's probably 20 to 30,000.
Wow.
Now we're going to take these apart slowly and gently so that we can go down into the brood chamber. We'll take gently, because we have some loose bees now. You can see they're not happy.
Wow.
So this is their larder. Got some honey in here. See it glistening?
Yes.
They will bring the pollen in, and they work that pollen to a certain consistency when they know it's honey, and then they put it in the cells. To me, that's fascinating, just to see them working together. I mean, they need each other. They've got to have each other, else they won't survive. Most of these will be females. The males start to be produced in about May. They don't do any work. They're like the men in the human world. They don't do anything. They just lounge around. They're fed by the workers. And once in a while, a queen may come out of this hive, and the male's sole job is to chase after a mate. He then dies, and she will go away and produce another hive or another colony in a wild tree somewhere. Now what we're hopefully going to do is actually get down into the brood chamber and check that the queen is laying eggs. This is the sex chamber. This
family
basically
show.
we're going, sorry, family show. The queen is somewhere in here, probably in the centre. You can see they're getting quite excitable. In here are capped cells, and there will be pupa in there waiting to emerge, and that's a younger bee. There's its bottom sticking out. We've got bees, we've got cells, the queen is laying, so I'm happy now that the colony's going to survive the summer and we'll have a good crop of honey.
So your main motive in keeping bees is for the honey?
Well, I don't like honey, but I do like mead. So it might well be fermented and have a happy beekeeper.
I'm just the opposite. I don't like mead, but I'd love some of that honey. Well, that's it for another animal hospital. Next week, we'll see how Blossom's doing as a hearing dog for the deaf. Don't miss it. Bye.
And it's the dog causing problems next tonight here on BBC One. Comedy in Keeping Mum. There's advice and information on choosing and caring for your pet in this BBC book and TX file, available now.
A film star is found dead in a locked nuclear bunker.
Nobody could possibly have killed your husband and then left this room.
Obviously, it's suicide.
Jack!